What's up, everyone? I'm Jack Slater, aka the Comic Outlaw. Check us out on YouTube. Drop us a like, a subscribe, and now we're doing Fantastic Four, number 36. And to tell you the truth, I've been waiting for this one. The Attack of the Frightful Four. Yeah. One of the first supervillain team-ups in Marvel. And I love how Stan Lee said, before someone else thought of it, we beat them to it. And we're taking this off on the Frightful Four, and basically Reed Richards and Sue have announced their engagement, and the press is going wild. As you can see, they're trying to stampede through Benjamin Grimm, which Ben is not too happy about. And the Fantastic Four has always lived in the public eye, so this is a big thing for them. And I often found how the two movies made in the early 2000s kind of parallel that, but they receive a gift, and Benjamin kind of receiving his fair share of bad gifts kind of covers his eyes and prepares for the worst, but flowers shoot out. And Sue's just kind of surprised, a little overwhelmed with the fact they're getting married, but very, very happy. Meanwhile, this is guy's the Trapper. I know his name's like Bass Pot Pete right now, but he's basically the Trapper from Ultimate Spider-Man. Him and Sandman end up meeting up, and they end up finding the Wizard, rescuing him from his imprisonment. And they begin the idea of forming a team, but they need one more. Since there's 4 members of the Fantastic Four, there should be 4 members of them. And they find this ally, Medusa. And this is Medusa, one of Medusa's first appearances. Later on, we find out she's an Inhuman. She ends up with Black Bolt. Then she ends up with the Human Torch, and then she ends up with Black Bolt again. And basically the Queen of the Inhumans, but this is her as she is right now. They decide to all team up, and like I said, they're getting everything ready for the wedding, the preparations, and the Human Torch discovers, like, using different gases, he can basically make his own fireworks, which is cool, and another versatile power, you could say, from Johnny Storm. So he starts creating his own fireworks, showing off, giving people a little celebration as the Frightful Four begins to make their plans. And they send the Wizard, and he has these anti-discs, like anti-gravity discs. So they're small, they attach to different things, and they make things fly, basically. Now the team's all together, they begin to make their plans in order to get their revenge on the Fantastic Four. And this is kind of cool, the X-Men are there at the reception, the Avengers, and Spider-Man, celebrating the future wedding. And this is just kind of a cool moment in Marvel where everyone kind of got together. Xavier kind of calls everyone away, saying they don't want to overstay the welcome, and a certain web slinger grabs a piece of cake for later. And after that, the Frightful Four move in. And it just shows how much strategy they have, to wait until everyone leaves. And they begin with Ben Grimm. Medusa uses her power to turn off the lights, and then they fire that glue gun in that ends up trapping him. And the Wizard uses his sleeping spray in order to knock him out. And this is kind of like what I like about the Wizard, is he has a bunch of different inventions. And this is pretty cool, they kind of take the Fantastic Four by surprise. And each kind of member has a way of neutralizing them. And this is also cool, a moment between Sandman and Reed Richards. Because of Sandman's abilities, he can turn into sand and spread it out. And Reed also uses his ability to kind of turn himself into a rubber band and hits the Sandman and kind of spreads him out everywhere. But it's just too much. The Trapper, or Pace Pot Pete, ends up nailing Reed Richards down. And they begin taking out the members of the Fantastic Four. And Sue ends up kind of trapping the Sandman, but Medusa gets the upper hand by attacking her from behind. And of course, the Wizard uses his spray, knocks them all out, and they have one more person left. They have Johnny Storm, the Human Torch. He is the last one in their collection. And then their villainous vengeance can start. But Allison is kind of in the house, and she ends up finding Sue Storm. And she kind of tries reviving her. And this is just how useful Allison is, for a blind chick. She does get around. And of course, the Human Torch figures out what's going on, and he flies off to go help his family. But Medusa ends up catching Allison, of course. And right when they're going to figure out what they're going to do with her, the wizard gets an idea to put these anti-gravity discs on all the members of the Fantastic Four, have them float out in the middle of space and then drop out, or end up flying out in the atmosphere and suffocating. But the Human Torch is having no part of that. He flies in and he ends up stopping the wizard. He calls to his troops to say, stop him. And this is the numbers game that I was talking about. Torch kind of dodges around. The wizard tries to get away on his ship, and the Fantastic Four are drifting off. But Reed kind of forms like a balloon around the other members of the Fantastic Four, and he's trying to force everyone back down. And what happens is Johnny Storm flies up on that ship. He stretches his hand out to Reed, and he ends up pulling them in. So the Fantastic Four is right now in the ship with the wizard. And the wizard's just kind of flying around. He doesn't really have a choice. He's kind of outnumbered. But his crew is coming after him. And this is very interesting that Sandman's kind of hardening himself to kind of drag the ship down, because the wizard's ship has the anti-gravity, so it'll float either way. But Sue counters that, and they're able to land safely. And of course, Storm forces the wizard to land as well, and they end up kind of taking out the Sandman. The Trapper does have Reed Richards in his sights, but Sue uses her invisible powers in order to stop him. To Medusa's surprise, and he ends up hitting her hair, so she can't use her hair, and she ends up being caught. Now, during the explosion, the Trapper also gets caught as well, and this rounds up the Frightful Four. Yes, the Fantastic Four has won again against one of the first villain groups. And will they return? We'll find out the next time, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Laters.